What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from New Holland Brewing, and they are out of Holland, Michigan, and this is their Dragon's Milk Reserve, the s'mores variant, and this is the 2024 release. So this is a bourbon barrel-aged stout with chocolate, toasted marshmallow, and graham cracker, and natural flavors. It comes in at 11% alcohol by volume, 70 IBUs at the time of review. This bottle is approximately 4.5 months old. So it's been a while since I've reviewed a beer from New Holland, and most of the beers in the past, 3 or 4 years that I've reviewed from New Holland has been their Dragon's Milk and their Dragon's Milk Reserve line. Why? Here in the Buffalo, New York area, that's pretty much all we get. We get the regular Dragon's Milk and some of the variants. That's it. We used to get a bunch of other stuff from them, but no longer that's no longer the case. So I saw this one a couple months ago. I picked it up, and I'm reviewing this as a shelfie beer for the month of September 2024. And you might say, a Dragon's Milk Reserve Series beer is a shelfie beer? Yeah. All the Dragon's Milk beers are pretty much shelfies. You walk into grocery stores, bottle shops, and they typically have it. So anyway, I picked this one up because it's s'mores, and I love s'mores. Who doesn't love, the chocolate, the marshmallow, and the graham cracker? However, two things concern me. Number one is that when it comes to s'more beers in general from anyone, usually one of the flavors, maybe a couple of flavors are missing in action, so I hope that's not the case here. And then with Dragon's Milk, you can probably go look at all the reviews that I've said, that I've done of Dragon's Milk beers. More often than not, they are thin. I think maybe like the triple mash is the only one that I have said that isn't thin, but most of them are thin. So I'm kind of going in with the expectation that it's going to be thin. It's not going to be full bodied and whatnot, but hopefully they surprise me. So it smells really fucking good. Let's give this a pour into the glass. And when I pour them too, they look thin. Like it's more of like a dark brown. It looks like I'm pouring a cola into a glass as opposed to 11% Imperial Stout. I don't know what it is about it, but even the base Dragon's Milk, same thing. Like base Dragon Milk, one of the best bang for bucks because, it's relatively cheap when you're talking about a barrel-aged Imperial Stout at, 11%. However, it's thin, and almost every variant is thin, so kind of a bummer from that aspect. Anyway, yeah, so on camera, I don't know how it's going to come off in terms of if it's going to look pitch black. And you could say it looks pitch black, but it's definitely dark brown. In person, hold up to light, 100%. Looks like cola, looks like root beer. Has like the lighter brown look here at the bottom. A finger of this really nice, I'd say straight up brown colored head. Really beautiful looking, looks creamy. Looks really nice. Like the head looks beautiful. There is alcohol sheets. You can definitely tell this is a bigger ABV beer. But as a whole, it doesn't it doesn't look any different than a lot of the Dragon's Milk. And I kept this in my darker beer fridge at 54 degrees Fahrenheit over the last couple days, so it should be in prime drinking temperature. Let's get a nose. Trying to think. What the hell are the Keebler? What are the Keebler cookies that are like the fudge dipped ones? Are they they're fudge dipped like graham crackers, right? This smells identical to those. I forget the name of them. They're not the fudge stripes. They're the ones that are like the rectangles dipped in fudge. Pretty sure they're graham crackers. Forget the name of them. It's pissing me off. I'll probably remember after I turn off the camera. But this smells like those, like to a T. And it makes me want a fucking like a stack of them right here eating them. Yeah, so those Keebler cookies, fudge dip graham crackers. That's what it smells like to me. There's a little bit of the barrel, has a little bit of like a bourbon kind of presence, like a sweet caramel bourbon, a little bit of a peppery note, touch of vanilla and oak. I'm getting vanilla for sure, outside of that vanilla, the vanillins, I would say, but it doesn't smell like marshmallows. Dude, this smells fucking awesome. Let me just say this. I'm biased right now. I'm telling you, I'm biased because those Keebler graham cracker fudge dipped graham. I wish I knew the fucking name. You ever just forget about something and it's like right there and you just can't think about it. But whatever those are called, I love them. I don't buy them nearly. I buy them like once every couple years because I will house that entire package. It's bad. But that's what this smells like. It's like someone melted those down into 11% Imperial Stout. There's a little bit of like coffee and like roasted malt, touch of a dark fruit, but I'm telling you, it's 75% that those Keebler cookies. God damn, it smells so good. Whew. Please be as good as it smells. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. That's what it tastes like. Okay. All right, Joe, settle down. It's fucking really good. Okay, it's really good. There are some issues with it, like a lot of the Dragon's Milk, but this is really fucking tasty. For what I'm like, again, I'm biased because of that Keebler cookie, and that's what it kind of tastes like. That's what it smelled like. So obviously, I'm gonna enjoy it. Body mouthfeel. I hate to say it, 11%, higher side of medium, lower side of full. Like, it's eh. If I was reviewing this blind, there's no way I'd say this is over 10% because I'll tell you what, it's high in alcohol pretty well. No real warming in my chest. There's a little bit of like a boozy sensation on the palate, but I wouldn't say over 10%. I would probably guess like 9.5. It's whatever, you know, the base. I don't know if they have just a base Dragon's Milk beer that's non-barrel aged. Like, I would love to know the base of the beer that goes into these barrels and whatnot, because I feel like it doesn't hold up well to the barrels as far as the body goes. Just my personal experience, I've probably had like 8, 10, 12 different variants, and most of them are thin outside the triple mash. So that's a bummer, but it's kind of, like I said, I kind of expected going into it. The mouthfeel is nice. Mild to moderately carbonated, more approaching moderate, but it's smooth, has a nice creaminess. So mouthfeel's certainly better than the body. The taste, I will say this. This is not one of the most complex barrel-aged beers I've ever had. It's far from it. But what it's hitting on is really nice. And you could say s'mores, because what I said is fudge-dipped graham cracker. Like, that's two things from a s'mores. The fudge, aka the chocolate, graham cracker, and then you get toasted marshmallow. The toasted marshmallow is what's missing here for me personally. It comes off more as a vanilla, but I'm kind of getting lost where the vanilla, the marshmallow begins, and the vanillins and the vanilla presence from the barrel begins. I don't know where one ends and where one begins, or the other one begins. So right up front, has this nice roasty, toasty kind of malt character. A little bit of chocolate, but then right after that, it's just boom, fudge dipped graham cracker, front to back, omnipresent. It is definitely the predominant note, and it's unmistakable for me. Being someone who's fat and loves, you know, desserts, I love those cookies. And when I smell it, it's the first thing that came to mind. Now I'm tasting it. It definitely tastes like that. I love that. That's a great character. However, I'm reviewing a beer, and I got to kind of, you know, review it and break it down and see, does it taste like s'mores? Where's the barrel age presence? You know, the base beer and everything. Outside that roasty, toasty tone, not a lot of the base beer is really coming to the forefront. After the Keebler cookie, it kind of has that barrel character that kind of hits midway through the palate, but it's also mixing in with this other vanilla, which I think is the toasted marshmallow. Right? Is it toasted or is it just regular marshmallow? Yeah, toasted marshmallow. I'm not getting any toasted marshmallow. It's just like, again, vanilla. So it has a pretty decent vanilla presence halfway through the palate. Again, you could say that's marshmallow, and they have achieved the s'mores status. However, for me, it's not marshmallow, so it really hasn't. So then I get the bourbon, and the bourbon is, it's like a peppery caramel, kind of sweeter, almost toffee-like bourbon. Like, it has sweeter caramelized sugars. There's this, I'd say, semi-dry kind of oak tannin presence that it lingers on the palate. So this is like semi to full-on dry. More, I'd say it's more semi-dry, but it's that oak tannin kind of like wooden stick kind of oak tannin that I don't necessarily love. I don't mind it here, but I don't usually love it. Again, 11%, I think it does a pretty good job of hiding the booze as a whole. And again, with the thin body and the lack of a true booziness on the palate, I would think this is 9 to 10% as opposed to 11. So that's impressive. But I would trade off the booziness. I'd like a little bit more boozy if the body was more like medium to full body. Something like this, I want rich. I don't need the thick, but it needs to have a viscosity that matches the ABV, and it's a fucking barrel-aged s'mores Imperial Stout. Like, I want a little bit more heft to it, so that's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, it's not sickly sweet, which is nice. A lot of these can lean that. I think that dryness, I think it has like a mild to moderate bitterness. It's not really over the top. It's more dry than bitter, but it's not overly sweet to begin with, which is nice. I think the barrel's kind of cutting that. And I love that the adjuncts are not overbearing. Even though, like I'm saying, this is fudge-covered graham crackers, it's still like in a more sophisticated way, like an adult dessert as opposed to like straight on sugar, like a kid's dessert. It's more refined. I would give this on taste alone, because I really love that fudge-covered graham cracker note. I'd give this like a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, it's fucking great. I love the taste of this beer. However, you throw in the lack of the body is really a deterrent to me, like it always is with the Dragon's Milk series. And then the lack of a toasted marshmallow. Yes, I'm getting vanilla, and I've said this in a lot of reviews. A lot of times when breweries use marshmallow, I get vanilla, and when breweries use vanilla, I sometimes get marshmallow. Here, I'm definitely getting more vanilla than anything, and that's where it misses the mark a little bit with the s'mores, right? The marshmallow is not specific. It's more just like a generic vanilla marshmallowy thing. So the two cons on this one: super thin body for what it is, and then the fact that the marshmallow is more vanilla. So I'll take that 4.5 and I'll knock it down into the 4.25 range. Where am I going to go? One more sip and we'll lock it in. I'm going to give Dragon's Milk Reserve, the s'mores variant, the 2024 release, I'm going to give this a high 4.25, go 4.3. I'll knock it down 0.2. It's really because of the body. If I'm being honest with you, in terms of the marshmallow, does it, bother me that the marshmallow's here? A very small amount. Like the fact that I'm getting vanilla is okay, and I can see the s'more side of things, but I prefer it to be marshmallow. It's just, I got to knock it down almost a quarter point just for the body. It's definitely thin, but again, I'm not knocking this down as much as I thought, only because I told you at the beginning, the expectation of this beer is it's going to be thin, because most of them are. So I can't knock it for something that I already knew going into it. Like it is what it is at this point with the Dragon's Milk series. If it ever gets to the point where it's full-bodied outside of the triple mash, I will do fucking cartwheels. I will not do cartwheels. Actually, let me take that back. I can't do cartwheels. I'm too fat. Said I'm fat twice in this review. Let's say a third time. I'm too fat to do cartwheels. I'm not doing jumping jacks. Not doing any of that shit. Anyway, so yeah, 4.3 out of 5. That's a really fucking... I feel like I've been apologizing for this beer and like getting you prepared for some really shitty score. Dude, this is fudge-covered graham crackers at 11% that tastes like it's 9% with some vanilla. It's not overly sweet. Like, it's a really good fucking beer. It's just the body's substantially thin, and I want some marshmallow. Price point availability, most of the Dragon's Milk Reserve series outside of the triple mash are like $17.99 a 4-pack. I think this single is like $5. I'm okay with it. Again, it's 11%. You got all those adjuncts. It's barrel aged. $5 a bottle all day, every day. So no issues with that. Availability, this is where I have no idea. Like I said, we got New Holland many years ago. They started coming into the New York State, and we would get a lot of their regular core beers, their seasonals. We would get the Dragon's Milk, and then all of a sudden, everything started leaving except for the base Dragon's Milk and the Reserve series. That's all we get. So it might be different in your neck of the woods. If it is, let me know. I'm sure they got a beer finder on their website, but for me, like, I can't really find anything outside of the Dragon's Milk base and the Dragon's Milk Reserve series beer. So I'm not super disappointed, but I haven't had a lot of Dragon's Milk regular stuff. It'd be fun to review some of their stuff, but I just can't get my hands on it. So yeah, I'm going to shut this one down. If you've had this one before, or prior vintages, because they've released this one for a handful of years. This is not the first time they released it. But if you had this year's vintage or prior vintages, post comment section, let me know what you thought about it. A viewer of the channel, Rodney, I know he had it. We talked about it when I posted, because this is the last beer I'm reviewing as a shelfie beer for the month of September 2024. And Rodney was like, "Oh, I have that in my fridge too." And I think he ended up drinking it, posting on tap. I think he enjoyed it. I don't remember what he gave it, but I think he enjoyed it. But I haven't seen a ton of people try this one out, so I'd be curious to know what other people think about it. So probably a longer review, but a beer like this where there's a lot going on and whatnot typically is. And let's be honest, as I hit my fucking table here, the reviews on the Beer PaTroll are always longer than the average beer tuber, just how it is. And if you've come to watch my channel, you know that. That's, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I like to keep it in between like 5 to 8 minutes." That's my intro. It's 5 to 8 minutes. If I can keep it under 10 minutes, like I'm fucking high-fiving everybody that I know. Typically, my reviews are 10, 11, 12, 15 minutes long. Some of them fucking 17 to 18. But you can't, listen, kind of like this beer, you know what you're in store for when you turn on my channel and you see a review and you look at the timestamp, he goes, "Holy shit, he talked about that beer for 16 minutes and 55 seconds. Fucking right I did. Fucking right I did. Did I need to? No, but I did. and we ramble sometimes at the end as we start to get hammered. I mean, I've drank quite a bit of this. I feel like this is another reason why I gave it a pretty good score. This is extremely drinkable for 11%. So like a lot of pros to this one, but there are a couple cons that knock it down, but I gave it a 4.3. It's a fucking really good beer. So anyway, I'm gonna shut this one down. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.